Pro-Palestine protesters have been out on the streets in London and in Manchester in defiance of pleas from the authorities to stand down in the wake of Thursday's terrorist attack on Manchester's Heaton Park Synagogue. This morning, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, posted on X, urging anyone thinking of joining the marches to recognise and respect the grief of British Jews. He added, "This is a moment of mourning. It is not a time to stoke tension and cause further pain. It is as time to stand together." Despite that, though, hundreds of people gathered at Trafalgar Square this lunchtime in support of Palestine Action, who've been proscribed as a terror group by the government. A separately organised protest in Manchester saw a smaller group of around 100 people gather in St Peter's Square to demonstrate against the war in Gaza. Pro-Palestinian protests are also taking place today in Spain, Italy and Portugal. Times reporter Dominic Houseshield has been in Trafalgar Square this afternoon. Dominic, welcome.
Hi, Henry from Drizzly, Trafalgar Square.
Right, OK, drizzly, but what about the scale of the protests and the mood of the protesters?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the mood here is it's a lot calmer than some of the previous Palestine Action protests that I've been to. The last one last month, some violence broke out, but it has been largely peaceful here. On the flip side, it's been a lot smaller than Defend Our Juries, who organised the protest, expected. They had anticipated around 1,500 people would show up to get arrested. I think at first look, it's far fewer than that.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, it could be any number of reasons, including the fact that there is a protest up in Manchester. There are protests elsewhere in the country, including in Truro. It could also be because some people have taken heed of what the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, and the Metropolitan Police, Mark Rowley, said, which is urging the organisers to call off the protest in the wake of the Manchester synagogue attack.
Right. And do we have any data on the number of arrests thus far?
Yeah, so the Metropolitan Police put out a statement around 30 or 40 minutes ago saying that just 175 people had been arrested. I mean, that's very low, and mainly that reflects a delay in the amount of time it takes to arrest people. When they come into the square to arrest somebody, usually they will go limp. That means at least 6 or 7 officers will be needed to carry them off to a processing area. Then they're going to have to be processed. So it's likely to be much higher than 175 by the end of the day, but probably nowhere near the 1,500 that Defend Our Juries were hoping.
OK, Dominic Houseshield in Trafalgar Square, thank you very much. Well, let's go into the heart of that protest now. We can speak to Angie Zelter, who is there, one of the protesters at Trafalgar Square. And Angie is a Nobel Peace Prize nominee and has Jewish and Israeli family living in Israel. Angie, why did you decide that you didn't want to listen to the Prime Minister and leading members of the Jewish community, and who said, please, for this weekend, please leave it alone, allow us to grieve without upsetting us?
Basically, because we're grieving and upset about all the victims of terrorism, including all of the children that have been killed in Gaza, and because it's our right to protest. So this is a silent, mostly silent and respectful place here where we're calling out the names of all the children that have been killed and massacred in Gaza. So this is actually about trying to say to the government, look, stop your collusion with genocide, stop the arms trade, and start obeying international law. We are not terrorists. You should be arresting the real terrorists.
Yep. We've spoken to Mark Addleston of the Jewish Leadership Council, and he said what you're doing is like a glorification of these deaths in Manchester. That's a serious charge that some of our listeners certainly agree with. How would you respond?
Well, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. There's loads of Jewish people here, and I've got Jewish relatives who are against Netanyahu and are in the peace movement in Israel. I mean, this is not the Jews that I know speaking out. And why are all the Israelis leaving Israel? Because it's one of the unsafest places in the world. There's Israelis coming into all sorts of countries.
Well, hang on. A lot of the British Jews that we speak to, Angie, a lot of the British Jews we speak to say these marches are making them feel so insecure. They, in contrast to what you're saying, feel like they have only one option, which is to go to Israel, despite what you've said.
Well, I think that they're speaking to the wrong kind of Jewish community. I'm sitting next door to a Jewish person here. We have the descendants and survivors of the Holocaust. So who are these Jews that are speaking so on behalf of the Jews? The Jews are like any other group of people with lots of different views, okay? And you mustn't conflate anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic views with anti-Zionist views. Okay, we're against the Zionists, not against Jewish people.
But something like 65% of British Jews say they are Zionists or identify as a Zionist. Many of them have expressed great concern about what happened in Manchester, the terrorist attack. What did you think when you heard about it?
I thought it was awful. I mean, all terrorism is awful, and I'm glad that the police are trying to find the perpetrators and do something about it. But they should also be trying to do something about the genocide that's going on in Gaza and the people that are perpetrating that.
The British government has reiterated that it does not believe this is a genocide. Sorry, Angie, the British government has reiterated it does not believe this is a genocide. One of our listeners, Scott, has messaged to say these are not pro-Palestine demonstrations, they are anti-Israel. How would you reassure him that they are not anti-Israel?
Because they are not anti-Jewish people. They are anti what the Israeli government is doing. Like a lot of people are anti what the British government is doing. That doesn't mean to say that they are anti-British people. They're the wrong people in power in Israel, and they just want to get rid of all the Palestinians, and that is wrong.
Haven't a lot of people voted with their feet today, Angie, by not rallying to your banner, by not coming out to Trafalgar Square or Manchester in great numbers today? You wanted 1,500, around 750 turned up. Haven't you failed to read the room, and there's the proof?
Well, the thing is, we don't know what the numbers are. I'm in the middle of quite a large number of people. I think it's over 1,000 people, and the arrests are going very, very slowly. We won't know probably until tomorrow how many people have actually been arrested.
I'm just looking at another message from another one of our listeners who's very concerned. It says, speaking as a member of the Jewish community, I wouldn't want anyone to feel like they had to be silent about a genocide that's happening because of an outrageous, atrocious attack that happened on our soil too. These are separate things and we should condemn them all. So people want to condemn both what happened in Manchester and someone to condemn what happened in Gaza. But at the same time, an awful lot of our listeners are saying you should not forget what happened on October the 7th, 2023. And it feels with these marches that too many people, perhaps including you, have done so.
Also, you must not forget the fact that Gaza was under siege for 17 years, and we have been allowing Israel to commit loads of murders over those 17 years. And we have done absolutely nothing about stopping the murder of loads and loads of Palestinians. That has been wrong over all of these decades. And so you can't start it on October the 7th. It didn't start on October the 7th. It started in the Nakba in 1948. Okay. And it's taken our state ages to actually recognize Palestine, and they're doing absolutely nothing to make sure that that state of Palestine can actually be set up. And you cannot actually trust the Israeli government to do anything that they promised to do, because they've broken every single ceasefire so far.
Very quick message from Matt in Nottingham. He says, I have sympathy for both Jews and Palestinians, but being the cause du jour of the likes of serial activist Angie Zelter doesn't help doesn't help either side. So some people are saying, well, this is counterproductive.
I don't think it's counterproductive for people to be here to say stop the genocide. We have to be here. We are being responsible citizens, global citizens, to say obey international law. Stop these countries tearing up international law. The only thing that stops a soldier being a murderer is the fact that they are allowed to be legally killing people if they keep to international law. Okay. And all these international laws are being broken, which will not protect our soldiers anymore either.
Angie Zelter, who is one of the protesters at Trafalgar Square, thank you very much indeed for joining us live